The following program frequently combines snark with clever innuendo. We really hope that you aren't offended. Really. We will even give you a safe space. There. Isn't that better? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Fire Program. I am your host, Joe Newman, aka Good Lawgic. Hope your day been going well. Hope things are going good for you. Life is treating you well. I'm about to ruin that. I saw this today and I was outraged. And we need to keep sharing this stuff. I need to keep sharing this stuff. I need to keep showing it because we need to remember all of the atrocities that the worst president in American history has dropped on America. And one of them was celebrated just 4 days ago, and I missed it. Apparently it was over the weekend when they were celebrating the third anniversary. Yes, the third anniversary of one of the most disastrous days in American history. I am referring, of course, to... You're going to be shocked when you see this if you're unaware of it. If you're unaware of it, you're going to be shocked. I'm warning you, you're going to be shocked. You know what this is? Do you guys know what this is? This. That is the Taliban, as you can see in the headline there, celebrating 3 years in power with the military parade of our equipment. That's our stuff. Billions and billions of dollars. The report I read said something like $7 billion. I remember when they took our stuff, they were saying 70 or 80. Like, I think the number I saw was $78 billion worth of equipment that Biden just left behind, like they were a pair of camp socks that were left up in the forest. Well, this is their parade, celebrating their victory over America 3 years ago. They got our matches. They got everything. You know what they told us? They told us, oh, don't worry, they're never going to get them to work. As if that makes it okay. As if that makes it okay that they would never get them to work. And was obviously a lie. They said, no, it has to be maintained by American U.S. maintenance troops. They don't know how to maintain it. I don't know. It seems like they're doing okay. You know what else they've been doing with it? They've been selling it to North Korea. They've been selling it to Russia. They've been selling it to China. They've been selling it to Iran, which means that all of the technology we left behind is now in America's enemies' hands. Thank you, Joe Biden. They didn't chant about this when they were like, "We Heart Joe" yesterday. I just want to pull something up here just so we can see if I can. I didn't even think of this. Best way to watch this. I can't get that. Here's the DNC. We'll get the DNC in the background. Celebrating Trump Biden. Here we go. I'll give you the DNC celebrating in the background. Yay, Joe. Yay, Joe.
Thank you. Thank you.
There you go.
Thank you. Thank you.
If you're wondering what's going on, which I see a few you are, I'm sharing with you video of the Taliban parade of our equipment, which they celebrated their victory over America 4 days ago with billions of dollars of our trucks, our tanks, our planes, and had a parade. And I have superimposed in the background the opening for the speech where the Democrats are cheering their hero, Joe Biden, because Joe Biden deserves all the applause for this parade. That's what we're watching right now. It's only another minute.
Thank you. I love you. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, Joe.
That was my daughter.
Yeah. She's funny. I heard enough of that last night. Anyhow, so if that doesn't make you sick to your stomach, if that doesn't make you sick to your stomach, Joe and Kamala. God. Yeah. Yeah. I remember it's like now all of a sudden the number is down at $7 billion. Maybe that's what they have left after they sold off $60 billion worth of equipment, because they're like, we can't even use all this equipment. Let's just sell it away for billions of dollars to China and to Russia, which is literally what they've done purportedly. North Korea, all of our enemies now have access to whatever weapons, whatever the latest machinery we decide to just leave behind and abandon, like it was just some forgotten book that we left in a forest after a camping trip. Unbelievable. Inexcusable. Democrats want to pretend that never happened. Or
the following program
rather
frequently combines snark with clever innuendo.
Rather, what they do is they blame Trump for that, because they say, well, Trump promised we were going to leave. Trump promised we had to leave. What were we going to do? Trump promised we were going to leave. We had to get out that timetable. Yeah, you know what? First and foremost, we were long overdue getting the hell out of Afghanistan, for crying out loud. I mean, freaking Bin Laden was dead for 10 years. So yeah, it was long overdue that we left. However, I want to point out to you, when you leave, you sort of have an exit strategy. And part of that exit strategy, one would think, just common sense. I'm no military tactician. I don't hold myself out as if I have some sort of training and expertise in this area, because clearly I've never spent a day in the military. I don't know anything about that. I'm simply telling you, there's got to be ways to leave behind less than $7 billion worth of our latest equipment. I just call me crazy. Maybe I'm just like pie in the sky thinking, I don't know, maybe leave behind only $2 billion. You know, maybe keep it under, like, you know, a few $100 million. You know, that could be the goal. So, and we all remember the 13 servicemen and women who were butchered by the Taliban thanks to the ineptitude of Joe Biden and his administration. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kamala. As well as the dozens, and what is frequently omitted is the dozens of servicemen and women who were injured. I think it was like 54 of them. I know it was at least in the high 40s. So all those people who were maimed and or killed, and rest their souls, and God bless them for their service. In addition to billions of dollars that are being used of the latest military equipment being used to disgrace America to this day, and also providing military secrets to our most bitter enemies. So now, like, whatever technology we have, whatever technological advancements we had, gone, goodbye. Oh, well. Whoops. Unbelievable. 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 God, sickening. Really sickening. Anyhow, let me get some of these before I get into it. I don't think that Barack has spoken yet, has he? These idiots.
Please welcome Mesa, Arizona Mayor John.
Tonight, Kamala was officially given the Democrats that she needs to get the nod. So she is now no longer the presumptive Democratic nominee. She is the nominee, and oh my God, what an utter disaster! Obviously, infinitely worse than Joe Biden. As bad as Joe Biden was, her policies that she's promoting here make her frighteningly worse. It's astonishing. But I'm going to have tons of good news for you by the time we finish. I'm going to have tons of good news for you by the time we finish. Did you hear Mayor Brandon Johnson's Bridges quote from over the weekend? No, I missed that. I missed that, Soltron. Mayor Brandon Johnson's Bridges quote. I have no idea. Now you got me all curious. Brandon Johnson. Now I got to Google something here. Bridges to change? That's a year ago. I'm not sure. Jaded Juror gifting 5. Count them 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 Good Logic memberships. New members of the following brought in courtesy of Jaded Juror. Those include Arnold Newton, James X, Jackers Girl, Rhonda Romes, and Patty B. All of them brought on into the following. If any of you are new to the following, which is possible if you are. If you're new to the following, please understand the following. That's just what we call people who subscribe to the channel and become part of our following here. But not like a cult type of thing. It's not like that at all. It's just about community and unity and personal growth. Part of personal growth is expressing gratitude to Jaded Juror there. So if you can just make sure that you call that out, I would be most obliged. Thank you so much, Jaded Juror. I tip my cap to you. And I'll say to you, welcome to the following. Cookies. Drop Barracuda. This is Biden kicking off a $35 billion deficit. Supposedly it's going to go to $40 billion if you go with Kamala's numbers, like day one. Not all the equipment is ours. Half is Russian. The NUC Hind gunship still inexcusable regardless. Okay. You certainly would know more than I would. I'm sure that most people would probably know more than I would. As far as, who's... I certainly know that there were billions left behind. That's what everyone said. Oh, wait. Big boop. Someone smarter than me should use that video and add a sound of all Dems chanting, "Thank you, Joe." It'd make a great meme. That's why I did it. That's why I did that. See, I always have in the back of my mind that, look, I'm very memeable. I'm very, very memeable. There's just not enough Good Logic memes out there. I'm very memeable. I try to give something that's clippable. So that's why I paused and shared that whole thank you, Joe, Joe, as the background for the Taliban parade, because I thought that was appropriate. Where's the Shah? How are you, the leader of the following? There you go. There you go. Good to see you. I hope you're doing well. All right. Let me check up. I got to check up my, let's see what's going on at the DNC. I got some weird woman hobbling out there. Well, apparently she's missing a leg.
Hello, Chicago! Hello, Chicago!
Yeah, okay. We don't care. We don't care. We don't care. Senator Tammy Duckworth of Illinois. She's missing a leg? Does it look like she was when she was hobbling out there? All right. Well, anyhow. Where was we? Yeah, okay. So we got a little while there on that. Definitely not worrying much about that. I did want to let you know that what I really want to spend some time talking about tonight is RFK purportedly thinking about dropping out of the race and supporting Donald Trump. This is potentially massive news. Now, a lot of you might be saying, why would he do that? And he said several times that he'll never do that. People had asked him if he could be vice president for Trump. Would he like sign? He's like, no. Why would he be dropping out now? And part of the reason is there's a few reasons that we can look at. Much of his speculation. First and foremost, Democrats are treating him like a piece of garbage. They treat him like a piece of garbage when they didn't give him Secret Service until Trump got shot. Kept rejecting him, even though, let's face it, if you're Kennedy and you're in political office, it's kind of like putting a bullseye on your forehead. And Biden was like, no, you don't need no Secret Service. That was back in the day when we thought the Secret Service was competent rather than potentially complicit. Not that I'm saying that they were, but at the very least, they displayed gross incompetence and complete lack of transparency. But back when we thought they were competent, we were astonished to see that Kennedy was being rejected as if like, oh, we can't afford to give you Secret Service protection. Like, really? That's what's going to put us over. That's what's going to put us over budget. Is that what's going to put us over budget, protecting him? All right. So, but in addition to denying him service protection, they didn't give him any chance to really compete for the Democratic nomination against Biden. Then replaced Biden and put in Kamala, who is really the antithesis of RFK. Everything about her is he's very not socialist, like very, very not socialist, and her policies are very against what RFK stands for. In addition, they took him off the New York State presidential ballot after court rules that he's not a resident. So he's not even on the ballot in some states, saying that he's not a resident here. And that I'm sure kind of got him pretty upset at the Democrats. And then when that happened, folks like Stephen Colbert over here were basically going out and mocking him for it. I'll play a tiny clip of this, knowing full well that if you're watching this after the fact, it's probably going to be something I had to cut out of the video because Stephen Colbert and his whole team there are a bunch of D-bags, grade A D-bags. You can tell from his humor that he's complete and total D-bag. But and when it comes to striking and demanding payment, their pound of flesh for 12 seconds of their terrible humor, lousy, awful, terrible humor, that they're gonna make me take this down.
I'm talking about presidential candidate and zombie hiding in your flag closet, RFK Jr.
So there you go. That's how they talk about him. I mean, so gross and disgusting the way that they attack him. I mean, look at that picture there. But
Junior here got some bad news yesterday when our New York Supreme Court.
So he's explaining how the Supreme Court there told him that he wasn't going to be on the ballot. And he thought this was just hilarious.
Now, prosecutors, you're right. Prosecutors proved he actually lives in Los Angeles thanks to a federal statement of candidacy with a California address and a social media video in which Kennedy talks about training ravens at his Los Angeles home.
That's just hilarious. Can you believe like he does something besides spending his days on TikTok? I mean, that's just freaking hilarious. Let's listen to the brilliant writers for Stephen Colbert and what they came up with.
Oh, foiled again. And he would have gotten away with it, too, if he wasn't the weirdest person on the planet.
No, that's you, Stephen Colbert. That's you. You're very, very strange, dude. You're a very strange dude. But they hate him. They hate him. I mean, they've been really, really malicious to him. In fact, the Vanity Fair came out with a tremendous, awful, terrible hit piece against him, which was just astonishingly aggressive. This came out July 4th weekend, well, a couple days before. It came out on July 2nd. I'm going to give you a breakdown of it over here as to how hostile they were to Kennedy, because this was just unbelievable. I mean, they make him out to be monstrous. This is sort of like a spoon-fed version of it that was produced by Slingshot News. One of the greatest villains in American history. Democrats released scathing statement on RFK Jr. This was about 6 weeks ago. After selecting billionaire Democrat activist Nicole Shanahan, see how as his running mate, Kennedy Jr. has attempted to focus on gaining ballot access in enough states to potentially win 270 electoral votes in the November election. Kennedy Jr. is attempting to become the first independent president in the history of our country, a feat that has proven to be both nearly impossible and quite damaging to what was once his sterling reputation. They talk about how he allegedly assaulted his family babysitter. That in a recent Vanity Fair article on Kennedy, reporter Joe Hagan details several damning incidents that occurred throughout the life of the tumultuous independent presidential candidate. He's got all these different scandals where he allegedly assaulted a family babysitter. It's alleged Kennedy grasped the thigh of 23-year-old babysitter Eliza Cooney while sitting at his kitchen table with the young woman. Kennedy Jr. reportedly asked the young woman to rub lotion on his back while he was shirtless, and also stole and read her diary, which included stories about her relationship with her boyfriend. Which, not going to kid you, it sounds kind of creepy. Cooney alleges that several weeks later, while digging in the pantry of their home, that Kennedy came behind her, blocked her inside the room, and began groping her, putting his hands on her hips and sliding them up along her rib cage and breasts. The former babysitter claims that she ended her work relationship with RFK Jr.'s family after the controversial lawyer had a meeting with former President Donald Trump. So the groping was fine. Oh my God! I wasn't going to quit over the groping, but then he met with Trump. Can you believe it? He quits. Oh my God! Crazy lefties always show you who they are. They always show you who. What kind of lunatic is this? So purportedly, and look, I wasn't there. Maybe he didn't. The way they're describing it sounds kind of unsettling. I mean, he's rubbing her thigh, asking for the back rubs with lotion, and supposedly groping her. But that's not why she quit. No, sirree. No, that's not a reason to quit. But when he met with Trump, I mean, come on. He met with Trump. I can't stay here anymore. Darker side to Kennedy. His first wife, Mary, according to other Kennedy family members, driven to suicide by his open philandering and his refusal to stop. Rumors that his sex addiction continues to this day. Rumors is a very convenient word to use in that setting. One of RFK's ex-girlfriends was initially put in charge of one of the several well-funded super PACs that support his candidacy. As soon as her committee was funded, she hired a private investigator to do a background check, determine his vulnerabilities, only to learn he had at least 9 ongoing sexual affairs with women across the country. Despite his claims to the contrary, Kennedy's progressive views are insisted upon by his Hollywood liberal wife, Cheryl Hines. She seems crazy progressive. I heard the two of them speak. When you hear him speak, you sit there and you're like, wow, this guy's smart. He has some good ideas. He has some good plans. I might not agree with everything he's saying, but he's certainly going to make you think. Then you hear his wife open her mouth. She was the wife in the show Curb Your Enthusiasm. She played Cheryl on Curb Your Enthusiasm. And he married that actress. And you hear her talk about her politics, and she sounds like a lunatic. I mean, a lunatic. She sounds like she makes Kamala seem like really intelligent. He famously insisted that visitors to Kennedy home for a Christmas party during a COVID pandemic wear masks. I don't know why that would be famous, but okay. Everyone seemed to be doing it back then. DNC responds to shocking information revealed about RFK. The DNC released the following statement in response to the scathing article. Today, brutal new reporting from Vanity Fair reveals disturbing details about RFK Jr. completely upending his claims to being the most transparent candidate in history and a moral authority. Statement goes on to call RFK Jr.'s behavior grotesque and dangerous. It also calls into question Kennedy's fitness to serve as president, ending with a statement on the picture of Kennedy holding up a cooked animal, saying the independent candidate held up the barbecue dog like a prize. I couldn't find that picture. The remainder of the statement from the DNC below. I clicked this earlier. So they cite the Vanity Fair thing extensively. They were very excited about it. Apparently, the Democrats were very bothered by Kennedy running, and they've gone after him very aggressively. They've been really, really, really aggressive with him, talking about him being a groper and an assaulter. But apparently, the groping and assaulting is not what sent the babysitter off. No. It was that he met with Trump, possibly without her consent. Keeping photos on his phone of multiple women, possibly without their consent. We're totally speculating, but we're just going to assume that. While he prides himself on being an environmental attorney, and I'm not saying he's a good person. I'm not. Look, I don't know if these allegations are true. I don't know if they're false. I don't know anything about it. I don't know. I have absolutely no idea. And I'm not saying that he's a stand-up person. I'm simply saying they've been going after him really, really hard. While he prides himself being an environmental attorney, he's been fired from every job he's ever had and ousted from multiple environmental organizations. And to top off those twisted stories, the story includes a photo of him grinning with the barbecue dog. I don't know what that's. I have no idea what the backstory of the barbecue dog is. I assume he wasn't going to eat it. I don't know what. If anything, it sounds like he probably was holding up and complaining about environmental issues. But they just wanted to find some way to castigate him because the Democrats hate him. Like Donald Trump, he's plagued by scandal, a closet full of shocking skeletons. Oh, did they include showering with a daughter? Because do they? Do they include like bedding down a married man and Willie Brown? Do they? I'm just wondering. The shocking scandals. Do they include keeping prisoners beyond their sentence terms so you can use them as free slave work? Do they include that? Those kind of scandals? When Reach would comment on his bombshell Vanity Fair piece, controversial operative Roger Stone told Slingshot News that while he lauds Kennedy for some of his positions, RFK Jr.'s policies are generally left-wing. And they are a very, very mixed bag. When you listen to him, they're a very mixed bag. Some of them sound great. Some of them sound like, what? No. While RFK's views on health freedom and the war in Ukraine are laudable, can you imagine what his Supreme Court nominees would be like? Between his radical climate change programs, which that I don't think is true. I don't think he's I think he's the type of environmentalist who actually is like, let's not pollute our waters, but I don't believe he believes in climate change. I do think he's all about abortion on demand. And seemingly expedient overnight change between his own gun right, and he has flip-flopped on that. No conservative Trump supporter should be fooled to believe in RFK shares views. And he's obviously trying to insulate Trump from having any of his voter base peel off in favor of RFK Jr. So, and that's when they're saying that he's less likely to win. There's a difficulty in actually even getting into enough states that he will qualify for 270 electoral votes. So this is basically, you can understand why if you're RFK Jr., you're holding a pretty serious grudge with the DNC at this juncture. Pretty serious grudge. You're better off just playing audio, FYI. Oh, you mean like without having the audio from the Taliban? That's probably correct. Apostates are always most hated group members. That's true. The endorsement will come Thursday or the day after. They will impact Kamala's acceptance bump after the convention. I think it's coming. I think it's coming. I'm gonna get there in a second. Philandering, philanthropy must be whispered. Does a bear get dumped in the woods? The bees be? The bear's bear? The bees be? Say it with me. I doubt it. I doubt it. Yeah, I questioned some of the claims against him. But what has all of Twitter and social media buzz was that his vice presidential pick, her name is Nicole Shanahan. She's actually some billionaire progressive. Says that they're considering joining forces with Trump to prevent a Harris-Walz administration. She said that in an interview that came out today. Let's listen to Nicole Shanahan during the course of her interview.
You know, there's two options that we're looking at, and one is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Walz presidency.
You see how much they're afraid of that, and yet you'll also see when she talks about Trump how it looks like she's like feeling like a punch in her stomach saying it.
Because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump.
Look at this dude's face.
Or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision. You know, there's two.
So there you go. There you go. His vice presidential pick. You do not say this in an interview lightly. You do not throw this out there just out of the blue. Because once you throw this out here, you're done. You're done. You're done. It's self-defeating to say you're considering giving up the race. As soon as you say you're thinking about leaving, you've left. That's just politics. Because people are not going to be like, yay, go now. It's like, no. It's like, yay, we were going to win. If you say, no, we changed it, we decided we're going to stick it out. It's not how you can't. People start losing. If you show weakness as a leader and saying, I don't think we can do it, it destroys your base. It destroys everything. So his candidacy, it never really had any life to it. But whatever life it had, this interview buries it. It really buries it. It just completely decimates whatever positivity his followers have. And the reason you would say something like this is because you know you're about to be dropping out of the race. You're presenting feelers as a basis to try and get Trump to, you know, throw a nice hunk of bait out there to lure you out of the water. So you want him to basically cast down and say, all right, look, give me that final push and I'll give you position X, position Y. I'll make you an attorney general. I'll make you the head of the EDP. I'll give you the Department of Education, cabinet position. You're just asking, basically trying to get him to give a fish. And I'll tell you right now, I would be totally fine with him doing that, depending on the nature of it. Obviously, I don't want him having anything to do with gun rights or abortion, but I don't need every member in every cabinet to agree with me politically on every issue. I just need them to agree with me on the issues that they're overseeing, right? I mean, if you have someone who's overseeing the border and they're actually effective at overseeing the border and they happen to be pro-choice, who cares? I don't care. That's not affecting me or any implications as to how the country is going to be operating. That's their personal views, which is not affecting anything. So if that's who they are, that's what they believe, okay, I think they're wrong, but it's not having any impact and they're good and effective at what we want them to do. I do think that with respect to that, there's certain levels of integrity that RFK Jr. helps present. And I think he could bring some integrity back to the office of being Attorney General if that's the position that he was being offered by Trump. So I do think that could be a positive. Now, but the only reason you throw something like this out there is because you're hopeful that the candidate that you're going to be throwing your weight behind is gonna be basically making a promise to you as to what they're going to do to help bring you out. And Barrett Boy says, seems like RFK has a serious problem if he's judged to be a resident Californian because his VP is a resident California. The Constitution doesn't allow that. There was the same type of talk when there was claims about thoughts of Trump bringing in various Floridians. They can change residence pretty quick. I don't think that's a big deal. You just would change your residence before January 20th. Denise Ann says, Dems calling themselves the party of joy is the most ironic thing I've heard this week. They're all screaming at the audience last night. They look miserable. Part of evil makes more sense. This is true. Also, why do they hate babies so much? Abortion is not reproductive health care. It's murder. But then they're sacrificing babies outside the DNC. Their evil cult can't survive without it. They are so evil. I agree with you completely, Denise. Terribly evil. Terribly evil. Anyhow, so Donald Trump was asked about the idea of giving a position to RFK Jr. And how do you feel about that, Donald? What's your position there on that?
Can I ask you about RFK? Because just moments ago, his running mate said that they were considering endorsing you. Have you considered him for a role in the administration, and what role would that be?
Well, we haven't, but I would love that endorsement because I've always liked him.
Would you also consider putting him in the administration?
You're asking me a very unusual question. I haven't been asked that question yet. I like him a lot. I respect him a lot. I probably would if something like that would happen.
Can I ask you about RFK?
So there you go. That's him basically saying, Robert, Jr., call me. We got this. I'll figure something out for you. We'll come to some sort of, just call me. We'll work this out. So I would not be remotely surprised. I think we should almost expect that within a week, RFK will be out of the race and supporting Donald Trump. That's where we're going. Last time I called something like this, I said that Biden would be out of the race within 48 hours, and he was out 42 hours later. This time I'm telling you, this prediction now is I think that within a week, RFK is out of the election. Now, it's definitely... I'm not Nostradamus. I'm not a prophet. It's not like I have, God's ear. But I can read political leaves. And when we've seen traditionally the timing and this sort of thing and the way events tend to unfold, if you're old enough to remember past yesterday, it's at least 3 days ago, you start learning how the timing on these things start working, the way news gets filtered through preceding an actual event. And that's why I'm saying my estimation is within a week, RFK is out. That's what I'm saying. And I think that's there's and when he drops that, I do expect him to support Donald Trump. And only because you don't say that in an interview. Why would you say that out loud? There's no upside. There's only downside. Unless you're already out, you're mentally and emotionally out, which her face looked defeated. I mean, look at her face here. She looks so defeated. So defeated she looks when
Two
she's
options
talking.
that we're looking at. And
look at her eyes.
one is staying in.
And I've never seen her before. I don't know Nicole Shanahan from Nicole Sheridan. I don't know anything about this woman. I'm simply saying she looks like she can't even look at him. She's so there's a certain
new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Walz.
Just looks
president.
She looks like her eyes look like she's dying inside having to say this. But it's so why say it? So you just wouldn't say it unless your campaign's over. Unless the journey is over. So let me check up and see. Oh, look at this. Former First Lady's talking. I don't have much stomach for her. She's pretty boring. And I don't understand the love.
But to be honest, I am realizing that until recently, I have mourned the dimming of.
What's with her teeth? What I've thought I've noticed this a few times. Look at her. What is with? What happened? It's almost like I'm not speculating. Were her teeth always like that?
That hope. And maybe you've experienced the same feelings, that deep pit in my stomach, a palpable sense of dread about the future.
Yeah, that maybe Kamala will win.
And for me, that mourning has also been mixed with my own personal grief.
Oh, God.
The last time I was here in my hometown was to memorialize my mother. The woman who showed me the meaning of hard work and humility and decency. The woman who set my moral compass high and showed me the power of
Your moral compass is not very high. It's not really a credit to your mom.
My own voice. Folks, I still feel her loss so profoundly. I wasn't even sure if I'd be steady enough to stand before you tonight, but my heart compelled me to be here because of the sense of duty that I feel to honor her memory and to remind us all
I don't know what she's
not
talking
to
about.
squander the sacrifices our elders made to give us a better future.
I thought that was unburdened by the past. I thought the past is a burden. I don't know what's happening here. I can't. I'm not sufficiently invested in this. I can't. I can't do it to you. She's too boring. There's nothing there. But I did want to share with you. Where was it? Dang it. From earlier tonight, a few clips that Alex Jones put out there, which were just hilarious. So, first was tonight, California wasn't really sure that they wanted to send their delegates for California. You almost wonder what the hell is going on here. Check this out. This was earlier tonight. California, when they were doing the delegate roll call as to who you're casting your votes for. Hey, California.
California, how do you cast your vote?
We're very excited. Give us your vote.
Mr. Secretary, the great state of California passes at this time. California passes.
Wah, wah. That's a great clip. That's such a great clip. We're really not sure. We got to think about this a little bit longer. The great state of California still is undecided. It's hard. It's a tough call. We got to think this one through. We're not really sure. Our options feel kind of limited. Oh, that's terrible. Oh, that's painfully bad. Oh, I can't. I was like, this is no. That's not good. That's just not good. That was terrible. And that's disappointing. Anyhow, they finally did come around. And when they did come around, it was kind of a mess. It was kind of
oh my God, look at
as Alex Jones reported. This is hilarious. This was really good. This was really good.
Maxine Waters. All right, so this is them putting her over the top. What have you ever seen a more deranged collection of ghouls. Look at this image.
Ted Lieu standing there behind Gavin Newsom, looking up at him with aspiring eyes. Maxine Waters, crazy eyes Nancy, with whatever injections she's got there.
My God, Nancy Pelosi, Maxine Waters, whatever that is on the right, and Gavin Newsom.
Whatever that is on the right. Isn't that the woman who did the interview for CNN and leaked the Donna Brazil? Isn't that Donna Brazil? Isn't that who? Am I wrong? Am I wrong? I don't know. All Portuguese people look the same to me.
American psycho presiding over it all. Let's listen.
And our ability to live together and advance together and prosper together across every conceivable and imaginable difference. But the thing we pride ourselves most on is that we
playing that music.
The future happens in California first.
Somebody's listening to something on speakerphone. Oh my God, Maxine Waters,
And
the fish
Democrats,
monster.
I've had the privilege for over 20 years.
Man, you know how
to see
jealous
that
Gavin Newsom
future
is right now?
taking shape.
This is so great.
With a star in Alameda courtroom by the name of Kamala Harris.
Who is there? A lowrider with its windows open, playing music nearby. What is
I
that?
saw that star fighting for criminal
Oh, I
justice.
know, it's background music. It's
racial
terrible.
justice, economic justice.
Just not actual justice. Just not justice, which is what a prosecutor is supposed to be doing. We don't care about justice. I only care about tree justice. I don't care. Don't give me your justice.
Social justice. I saw that star get even brighter as Attorney General of California, as a United States Senator, and as Vice President of the United States of America. Kamala Harris.
You know that?
I'm surprised. Adam Schiff looks terrible in this. He looks gross. He looks terrible. Terrible.
Has always done the right thing. A champion for voting rights, for civil rights, LGBTQ rights,
You freaking
the
idiot.
rights for women and girls. So Democrats and independents, it's time for us to do the right thing. And that is to elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States of America.
The fish monster's
California,
flapping.
We proudly cast our 482 votes for the next president, Kamala Harris.
Oh no, she's stroking out. What a deranged bunch of creeps.
There you go.
What a dysgenic bunch of psychopaths we have to deal with from California.
They really are. They really are. Oh my God. It's just become a sea of weirdos. That's what California. Some of you may come from California. Oh my gosh. Gosh. Unbelievable. I'm gonna say this here. Tony. Easy. Breathe. Because to me, when I see long messages in all caps, it starts feeling very spammy, and there's no spam in my chat. It's a very open chat. You can say whatever brilliant or stupidity thing that really strikes your fancy. Totally cool with me. All caps, long things in all caps. I'm not even sure what you're trying to say here, but it just makes it. It just ruins chat. So let's not do that. Let's not do that. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we voted for the only choice. Yay! Because democracy. She's still going. Look at her go. She's still going. Well, let's see what she just said. Apparently,
Who's going to tell him that the job he's currently seeking might just be one of those black jobs?
oh, Who's going to tell you that she's not exactly black? There ain't no black candidate. I don't know.
It's his same old con. His same old con. Doubling down on ugly, misogynistic, racist lies as a substitute for real ideas and solutions that will actually make people's lives better.
What are those real solutions? What are those solutions? Because we haven't heard any that anyone says this will make anyone's life better.
Our bodies, the freedom to become a mother through
so angry.
IVF like I did.
They're so angry.
Those things are not going to improve the health outcomes of our wives, mothers, and daughters.
Because Trump
shutting down,
Trump
banning our books,
banning our pornography in kindergarten
for being who they are and loving who they love. Look,
oh my God. Do you think this is not helping? This is no one watching this at home is sitting there who's not already like deeply committed to Kamala is sitting there saying like, yes, we need to get more of those books in. Now in schools. Now I'm going to vote for Kamala. Now I wasn't going to. She made this great point here about how we need to get we need to get more sexualization of children into our schools.
Presidential. So, why would any of us accept this from anyone seeking our highest office? Why would we normalize that type of backward leadership?
This is literally the same speech that Hillary gave 8 years ago.
It demeans and cheapens our politics. It only serves to further discourage good, big-hearted people from wanting to get involved at all. America, our parents taught us better than that, and we deserve so much better than that. That's why we must do everything in our power to elect two of those good, big-hearted people. There is no other choice than Kamala Harris and Tim Walz.
Show them.
No other choice.
Show them. Because I'm going to tell you, I don't understand what deal with Satan she made. What deal with Satan this individual made that enabled her to garner the crazy respect that she has.
The despair we have felt. Let us not forget what we are up against. Yes, Kamala and Tim are doing great now. We're loving it. They're packing arenas across the country. Folks are energized. We are feeling good.
Let's talk about that. I think because I mentioned that she's tanking, and some people questioned me and on X about that. So I'm gonna just share with you what I saw. I'll share with you what I saw. Where are you? No, I have it. Here it is. First, yeah. So, like they say, you can go to Real Clear Politics and you can pull up the latest polls in this state or that state. But there's a concept out there which applies really much, is more well known in the sports avenues than it is in the political arena. But that is that Vegas knows. Vegas knows. Sports books maker, they smell what's happening. You want to know what's happening? Go look at election forecasters. You want to conduct a poll, you can conduct a poll and basically go into Chicago doing DNC and say, who are you voting for? Who are you voting for? Oh, look at all these people here who are all voting for Kamala. Look at her numbers. But that's obviously not telling you how the country is feeling about likelihood of success. But you go to a place like polymarket.com, which has not yet sponsored me, but certainly should. And you see, oh my God, this was tied 2 days ago. This was tied at 49-49. Not anymore. Not anymore. During the election, the DNC, during the Democratic National Convention, Kamala Harris is dipping and Trump is rising. Wow. 52-47. 5-point spread now. 52-47. That is pretty astonishing. And I'm going to tell you right now, if indeed RFK drops out and throws his support behind Donald Trump, I'll tell you right now, he will easily have a 10-point margin, if not closer to 15. Easily. If that happens, he will win the popular vote. If that happens, this has all the earmarks of a potential landslide. If, in fact, he drops out and throws his support behind Trump. Securing that endorsement. Look, I'm the type of person who I think endorsements, by and large, are kind of useless. I assume that they hold some sway with union members, perhaps some sway with union members who feel like we got to all, vote together. So, and that's perhaps that endorsements do that. I don't know. If so, I'll tell you, virtually every police agency in the country is supporting Trump, as he pointed out today in a speech that he gave in Michigan. But I'll tell you right now, if in fact he gets that endorsement from RFK Jr., because what you have to realize is this: RFK is an interesting figure in that you tend to assume that libertarians are eating from the conservative and that Green Party people are eating from the liberal, from the Democrats, right? I mean, that's how historic. But when you have an independent, and especially an independent like RFK, it's difficult to know the impact he's having. Is it more harming Kamala or harming Trump? Because on the one hand, he has been historically Democrat. His family is one of his most famous Democratic family, arguably in the last century in America. I mean, they're practically political royalty. The Kennedy, the whole the whole Camelot that they have in the Kennedy estate. So, I mean, he's pretty much a prince of the political nobility, the Democratic Party. So, in that sense, you would think that if he's in the race, it's harming the Democrat and eating from the Democrat. On the other hand, the populist type of perspectives that he's been throwing out there, where he's been anti-Ukraine, anti the whole vax thing, and anti all his positions there, have been far more aligned with more traditional American type of values. So you would think that perhaps he's eating from the popularity of Donald Trump. It's very hard to know. It's very hard to know, like, the people who would be abandoned. Let's say he would just drop out of the race and say, not endorse anyone. What impact that would have. But if he were to actually throw his support behind Trump, I think that would actually galvanize. Because I think some people who are populists might be like thinking, I like some of the stuff that Trump is saying policy-wise, but I don't like him as a person. I think RFK is a better person, a smarter person, and more political and more of a politician, and for whatever reasons, they might like his personality more than they like Trump's personality, and use that as a base to say that, or look at it like, I can back away from the Democrats. They might be saying, I'm frustrated with the crazy leftism of the Democrats, but I can't, I need a third option. That third option is RFK, because I don't want to jump over to Trump, because I've been trained like a monkey into believing that Trump is the height of evil, the terrible evil Donald Trump. So there are people like that out there. But then if he ends up getting that nod from RFK Jr. and RFK Jr. says, no, look, this is the person we need to support, I'll tell you right now, we really could be looking at a landslide. I think that it can start really snowballing on Kamala very quickly, very, very quickly. So that endorsement would carry a lot of weight. And like I said near the beginning of the show, I think that if Trump offers him the right position, could be attorney general, could be a cabinet position in an area where his values are consistent with, MAGA type of values, which there are a few areas that they are, probably with respect to Department of Education, which honestly, if you ask me, I do think we should trash the Department of Education. I think we should get rid of it altogether. I don't even understand the Department of Education. Conceptually, education should be handled by the states. The idea that we have a Department of Education, someone needs to walk me through exactly what the agenda is behind it. But I think that if he gets that nod from RFK Jr., I think that we can be looking at a really something that's way too big, because we need a landslide. We need a big number here, a ridiculous number, a number that it's beyond any sort of margins that could possibly be compensated by fortification, that can possibly be outdone by an avalanche of ballots that just come in out of nowhere. All right, Tony, this is my last warning. Stop the all caps, okay? I don't like banning people. Stop the all caps, because it's really feeling spammy. Good Lord. Good Lord. Is she still going? Oh, okay. There we go. Let's see what we got going on.
Trying to give people the same chances America gave her. Someone who sees you and hears you and will get up every single day and fight for you.
Oh, yeah.
The next president of the United States of America, Kamala Harris. It's been 16 years since I had the honor of accepting this party's nomination for president. And I know that's hard to believe because I have not aged a bit. But it's true. And looking back,
and how I destroyed this country,
I can say without question that my first big decision as your nominee turned out to be one of my best. And that was asking Joe Biden to serve by my side as vice president,
which he proceeded to use to milk millions of dollars out of corrupt international companies.
Other than some common Irish blood, Joe and I come from different backgrounds, but we became brothers. And as we worked together for 8, sometimes pretty tough years.
You're paying to use cash.
What I came to admire most about Joe wasn't just his smarts, his experience. It was his empathy and his decency and his hard-earned resilience, his unshakable belief that everyone in this country deserves a fair shot.
What does this have to do with
And over the last 4 years, those are the values
that enable 20 million
America
illegals.
has needed most. At a time when millions of our fellow citizens were sick and dying, we needed a leader with the character to put politics aside and do what was right.
And force everyone.
At a time when our economy was reeling.
We needed a leader to say, to hell with your body, your choice.
To drive what would become the world's strongest recovery. 15 million jobs, higher wages, lower health care costs. At a time when the other party
look at who they're preaching
turned
to.
into a cult of personality.
Oh, speak about this.
We needed a leader who was steady.
You're the cult of personality. You won because of the cult of personality.
Selfless enough to do the rarest thing there is in politics.
Oh, God.
Putting his own ambition aside for the sake of the country.
You threatened him that you were going to knock him out of the 25th Amendment, you freak. You sick gaslighting liar.
Will remember Joe
You were the one who
Biden
threatened
as
him.
an outstanding president who defended democracy at a moment of great danger. And I am proud to
And
call
so
him
13
my president,
servicemen and women
but I am
killed,
even
dozens
prouder
more
to
injured.
call him my friend.
It's almost like he thinks that this is Biden's. This is Biden. This is Biden being renominated.
Now, the torch has been passed. Now it is up to all of us to fight for the America we believe in. And make no mistake, it will be a fight. For all the incredible energy we've been able to generate over the last few weeks, for all the rallies and the memes, this will still be a tight race in a closely divided country.
Yeah, which we're going to push over.
A country where
if we
too
can.
many Americans are still struggling. Where a lot of Americans don't believe government can help. And as we gather here tonight, the people who will decide this election are asking a very simple question. Who will fight for me? Who's thinking about my future?
Kamala has no idea how to help your
about
future.
Our future together.
She's displayed complete incompetence.
One thing is for certain, Donald Trump is not losing sleep over that question.
Really? He seemed to do a great job for 4 years. He helped black people more than you ever did.
78-year-old billionaire who has not stopped whining about his problems
that you helped orchestrate for him
9 years ago.
You mean like when you guys created the whole Russian collusion hoax? Or you mean when you guys impeached him the first time? Or you mean when you guys rigged an election? Or you mean when you guys actually tried indicting him, not once, twice, 3 times, but 4 different times? When you guys tried taking him off the ballot, all those times that he was wrongfully complaining. The reason he's the nominee today is because of you. You and your idiotic policies of going after him. And then you say, oh, how dare he complain? You son of a bitch.
There's been a constant stream of gripes and grievances. That's actually been getting worse now that he's afraid of losing to Kamala.
He actually hasn't.
There's the childish nicknames, the crazy conspiracy theories.
Conspiracy theories.
This weird obsession with crowd sizes. It just goes on and on and on.
And you're going on and on and on.
The other
They're
day
so
I heard
obsessed with
someone
him.
compare
They're so
Trump
obsessed with him.
to the neighbor who keeps running his leaf blower outside your window every minute of every day. Now, from a neighbor, that's exhausting. From a president,
this is true.
It's just dangerous.
Talk about dangerous. This guy caused more racial division and divide in our country, more political divide in our country than any man in American history. This was, people say that Biden was the worst president in our history. I'll tell you this much. This man standing right here destroyed America in ways no one else ever has. Ever. Because he took normal political division and turn it into the other guys are racist. He's been screaming you're a racist for the last 16 years, and he's screaming about Trump today. That's all he ever did. He didn't say it. He doesn't say it out loud. He would always say, you know, some folks aren't comfortable with a person, you know, who doesn't, because I don't look like the people on you know, on your paper money, you know. and basically imply, oh, if you're against me, it's because you hate black people. If you're against illegals streaming across the border unfettered, it's because you hate brown people. This guy caused more racial divide. This guy changed the nature of conversation, where all of a sudden, if you're not in my camp, it means you're evil. It means you're a terrible person. It wasn't always like this. It wasn't like it until he showed up, and desperate to bask in his own fame and glory, he decided to demonize anyone who was a political enemy as being a terribly evil human being. That's what he did. That is the genesis of what we have today. That's why Trump won in 2016, because people on the right were just like, I'm sick of people implying that I'm a racist just because I think your policies suck, because they do.
The truth is, Donald Trump sees power as nothing more than it means to his ends.
That's how you saw it.
He wants the middle class to pay the price for another huge tax cut that would mostly help
through
him
projection
and his rich friends.
Everything was about you and your
rich
friends.
He killed a bipartisan immigration deal written in
You killed an American.
part by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress.
Because that deal was a disaster, which mandated that forever we must keep our borders open, and no president is allowed to shut it down, and keep fewer than 4,000 people crossing that border every single day. During times of crisis, we must admit 4,000 new illegal aliens every day. That's what that bill said, and that's what Trump needs to point out. This is the one area that I really, really want him to point out. That bill was not close the border. It was a mandate that our borders must be open forever. That you're prohibited from shutting it down. And if you try shutting it down, you can be taken to court. The president will be taken to court in D.C. and lose, because the statute that Congress and the president passed would say, hey, you must admit a minimum of 4,000 people every single day, which is 42,000 people a month, which is 500,000 people a year. Every single year, we must have 500,000 illegal aliens. And I'm going to tell you this, I'm all for naturalization. I'm all for having a legal vetting process. We must have 500,000 new folks who we don't know who they are crossing our border every day under that bill. That bipartisan, great, oh, this was going to shut the border bill. It was the exact opposite of that.
That would have helped secure our southern border, because
Liar.
he thought trying to actually solve the problem would hurt his campaign.
Liar.
He doesn't. Do not boo. Vote. He doesn't seem to care if more women lose their reproductive freedom, since it won't affect his life.
That's not what he said. He said it's not his
And most
business,
of all, Donald Trump
isn't.
wants us to think that this country is hopelessly divided.
You divided us.
And them.
You are the one who created that message. You. My God, this Tartuffe makes me so angry. You are freaking Tartuffe. You are the most vile, disgusting, awful human being. Oh my God. This is the worst person on the planet. That's what this is. There is no person worse than Barack Obama. The worst person on the planet. This Tartuffe who's sitting, you are the one who created racial divisions. You are the one who made everything in politics about race. You are the one who did this. You're the one who said anyone who disagrees with you is evil and a racist and a misogynist or whatever stupid new term you came up with. You.
Between the real Americans, who of course support him, and the outsiders who don't.
Indeed, because you're not.
And he
real
wants
American.
you to think that you'll be richer and safer.
And I'm not saying, I don't know whether or not he was born here. I don't care about that. I'm just saying his values have nothing to do with American values.
If you will just give him the power to put those other people back in their place.
See, here he goes. The racism.
It is one of the.
He never will say the word racist, though, because he's a surgeon with his words. He's a master with his words. You see, he just implied the other people are minorities. That's you don't hear. That's how the Democrats are hearing him. He's out to get minorities. That's a classic Barack Obama way of saying, yeah, listen to his words. He's such a surgeon with his words. So I never would underestimate him. But this phrase he's about to say right here, this is what he did for 8 years, where it's just implying the others. And the others are always going to be taken by Democrats to mean the minorities.
If you will just give him the power to put those other people back in their place.
What do you think he means when he says other people? Who does he mean? What are other people? It's a way of saying not white people. And that's how Democrats hear it. And the point is, he's a racist. But like I said, like a surgeon, he never will use the word. I don't know if he's ever used the words. But everyone interprets it that way. And I pointed out that when Hillary Clinton got up to her own camp and referred to the basket of deplorables, the racist, the misogynist, the whatever, the anti-everyone's, that she was calling the basket of deplorables, the reason she felt that would resonate with her audience is because they all listened to this jackass for 8 years go on, implying that they view you who are not white as the others who need to be put in their place. And he understood that his base would translate that as racist without him actually having to use the word. So this way, he's not considered someone who's so dangerous. He's considered like he's being very, very polite and austere. Terrible human being. Awful.
It is one of the oldest tricks in politics. From a guy whose act has, let's face it, gotten pretty stale. We do not need 4 more years of bluster and bumbling and chaos. We have seen that movie before, and we all know that the sequel is usually worse.
I'll tell you that, and he's a very skilled orator, but it's like, we really need another 4 years of another 20 million illegal aliens? Is that what you're trying to say?
America's ready for a new chapter. America's ready for a better story. We are ready for a President Kamala Harris.
Yeah, that's good. There was extortion. You're talking about how they got rid of Biden? There was extortion. Gets me so angry, this guy. Gets me so angry.
And Kamala Harris is ready for the job.
Oh, I know. They didn't let in. I tried going in as a reporter. They wouldn't let me in.
This is a person who has spent her life.
Thank you so much. I think we'll come back to this
soon. People who need a voice and a champion. As you heard from Michelle, Kamala was not born into privilege.
Yes, she was. Yes, she was.
And she actually cares about
your father was wealthy.
What other people are going through. She's not the neighbor running the leaf blower. She's the neighbor rushing over to help when you need a hand.
Yeah, right.
As a prosecutor, Kamala stood up for children who had been victims of sexual abuse. As an attorney general of the most populous state in the country, she fought big banks and for-profit colleges.
Most populous state in the country. People fleeing that most populous state in the country.
Billions of dollars.
I don't think it's the most populous state anymore.
After the home mortgage crisis, she pushed me and my administration hard.
Obviously, that's what he did.
To make sure homeowners got a fair settlement. Didn't matter that I was a Democrat. Didn't matter that she had knocked on doors for my campaign in Iowa. She was going to fight to get as much relief as possible for the families who deserved it. As vice president,
this is a great point. I'm going to come back to this.
On the drug companies.
Great point.
Cap the cost of insulin, lower the cost of health care, give families with kids a tax cut. And she is running for president with real plans to lower costs even more and protect Medicare and Medicaid.
Which every economist says will drive costs up like crazy. And I don't know, like she wants to make us Venezuela 2.0. That's great. That's a great policy. The same policies that work so well in Venezuela. That's what she wants to bring here.
A law to guarantee every woman's right to make her own health care decisions.
Which there's zero. Anyone who has half a brain, which look at who his audience is here, is clapping like seals, knows has zero chance of passing through Congress, either in either direction. Zero chance of passing through Congress, and arguably unconstitutional would be deemed unconstitutional by the Supreme Court if it did. I'm catching up.
In other words, Kamala
Amen.
Harris won't be focused on her problems. She'll be focused on yours.
And God help us if she is, because her policies are a disaster.
President, she won't just cater to her own supporters and punish those who refuse to kiss the ring or bend the knee. She'll work on behalf of every American. That's who Kamala is.
She's also the candidate I didn't want when we made Biden step down, and I was kind of annoyed at how quickly she grabbed that mantle. They are blowing very hard.
And in the White House, she will have an outstanding partner in Governor Tim Walz.
Oh, good God help us. That bullfrog croaks. You ever see his mouth?
Tell you something.
It looks like he's
Let me tell you something. I love this guy.
Oh, geez. Naturally, because because Satan enjoys and loves Satan's spawn.
Tim is the kind of person who should be in politics.
Oh, God help us. See, here's socialist Barack coming around. There you go. Did he really? I didn't know about that.
Born in a small town, served his country, taught kids,
lied about his service,
took care of his neighbors. He knows who he is, and he knows what's important. You can tell those flannel shirts he wears don't come from some political consultant. They come from his closet, and they have been through some stuff. They have been through some stuff. That's right. Together, Kamala and Tim have kept faith with America's central story.
Oh, good golly.
A story that says we are all created equal.
And that we will free anyone who's riding for BLM.
All of us endowed with certain inalienable rights.
That we should defund the police.
Deserves a chance. That even when we don't agree with each other,
we must defund the police. And we must issue mandates saying your body is not your choice.
That's Kamala's vision. That's Tim's vision. That's the Democratic Party's vision.
Yeah,
and
tyranny is their vision. Tyranny is their vision. Complete and total tyranny.
Job over the next 11 weeks is to convince as many people as possible to vote for that vision.
What is their policy that is not disastrous?
Now, it won't be easy.
Especially because the only decent policy she came out with, she stole from Trump.
The other side knows
that you're tyrants.
It's easier to play on people's fears and cynicism. Always has been.
That's what
they will tell you that government is inherently corrupt, that sacrifice and generosity are for suckers.
No one's ever said that, ever.
And
ever. That's exactly the opposite of what anyone associated with MAGA would ever say.
Since the game is rigged, it's okay to take what you want and just look after your own.
That's what we've seen from you. That's what we saw you do 4 years ago.
That's the easy path. We have a different task. Yeah. Our job is to convince people that Democracy can actually deliver.
It has in the last 4 years.
And in doing that,
democracy,
we can't just point.
Democracy, which you don't get to choose who your candidate is, but we're going to call that democracy.
To what we've already accomplished, We can't just rely on the ideas of the past. We need to chart a new way forward to meet the challenges of today. And Kamala understands this.
She also understands that we need to strip private insurance carriers. She understands that we need to silence anyone who disagrees with us. She learned that under the Biden administration.
She knows, for example, that if we want to make it easier for more young people to buy a home, we need
then you need not to have Kamala in power.
To build more units and clear away some of the outdated laws and regulations that made it harder to build homes for working people in this country. That is a priority, and she's put out a bold new plan to do just that.
Her bold new plan is I'm going to give $25,000 to new first-time owners, which all that means is that the price of houses can go up by $25,000, just like it worked in education. Same stupid, bad ideas reinvented in new areas to make America a crappier place to live. Thank you, Democrats.
On healthcare, we should all be proud of the enormous progress that we've made through the Affordable Care Act, providing millions of people access to affordable coverage,
jacked up insurance prices,
more from unscrupulous insurance practices.
Yeah, 12 years of Obama and his progeny. What the hell has that done for insurance? You suck.
I noticed, by the way, that since it's become popular, they don't call it Obamacare no more.
Yeah, our policy to mutilate children.
But Kamala knows we can't stop there, which is why she'll keep working to limit out-of-pocket costs.
And make sure that no one can have private insurance. That's because we haven't done enough socialism. We got to make sure that there's absolutely no private insurance.
Kamala knows that if we want to help,
we have to turn our health care back into Ethiopia. That's what we need to do.
Help people get ahead. We need to put a college degree within reach of more Americans. But she also knows college shouldn't be the only ticket to the middle class. We need to follow the lead of God.
Oh my God. Look at this weirdo. Look at this weirdo crying. Good golly. Good golly. I have so many questions. So many questions. The first is, how do you manage to cry and get a tear running down the middle of your eye? Because that's like Hollywood BS. I don't know how they managed to do that. That's not possible. Everyone cries from their tear ducts, which is the portion of your eye that is close to your nose. So I don't know how anyone cries from the center of their eye. That's not possible. That's not possible. That's just not possible. So they managed to find this woman who somehow, and for some reason, why is this making anyone? They're so weird. They're so weird.
Governors like Tim Walz, who said, if you've got the skills and the drive, you shouldn't need a degree to work for state government.
And he also said, get back into your homes. There's lockdown. Get back. Curfew is in effect. Curfew is in effect. Curfew is in effect.
And in this new economy, we need a president who actually cares.
New economy meaning crazy inflation caused by the Democrats. That's what he means by new economy. How is the economy new other than the fact that it sucks because of the Democrats? Denise says, I was born in California. It was a beautiful state full of beautiful people. Demons have taken over and destroyed the beauty of that state. So sad. You have to save the USA and California. I don't know if California can be saved anymore.
About the millions of people all across this country who wake up every single day to do the essential, often thankless work.
Well, that's definitely not Democrats. That's definitely not Democrats.
For our sick, to clean our streets, to deliver our packages.
And if they don't follow our mandates, we'll fire them tomorrow.
We need a president who will stand up for their right to bargain for better wages and working conditions. And Kamala will be that president.
Why are they not doing that now? Why aren't they doing it right now? Why aren't they doing it next week?
Yes, she can.
That would explain a lot.
Yes, she can.
Why is she not doing it now then? Why is Biden not doing it now? Look at these weirdos.
A Harris-Walz administration can help us move past some of the tired old debates.
What about the tired old policies we've had for the last 3 years, which have left us with a crappy economy, with billions of dollars going to a foreign war that no one even understands what the agenda of that war is, and 20 million new residents who we can't stop from coming in here?
Keep stifling progress. Because at their core, Kamala and Tim understand that when everybody gets a fair shot, we are all better off.
No, that's not what she says. She says equity means giving some people more because they started with less. That's not a fair shot. That's just socialism. That's just I'm going to take from one person and give it to another person.
They understand that when every child gets a good education, the whole economy gets stronger.
That's not true.
When women are paid the same as men for doing the same job, all families benefit.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Oh, women are underpaid. That's right. And all those stupid companies that are hiring men when they could hire women cheaper. If that were true.
Tearing kids away from their parents.
You built the cages. You built the cages.
Also building trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve.
She defunds the police.
That will make it better for everybody.
That's the reason every police agency is supporting Trump, because she wants to defund the police, jackass.
Donald Trump and his well-heeled donors, they don't see the world that way.
Well-heeled donors. He had more support from this guy. The Democrats had more support from Wall Street than anyone in history.
Necessarily another group's loss.
Such a gaslighting liar.
For them, freedom means that the powerful can do pretty much what they please. Whether it's fire workers trying to organize a union, or put poison in our rivers, or avoid paying taxes like everybody else has to do.
Yeah, maybe. I forgot about this.
We have a broader idea of freedom. We believe in the freedom to provide for your family if you're willing to work hard. The freedom to breathe clean air and drink clean water and send your kids to school without worrying if they'll come home. We believe that true freedom gives each of us the right to make decisions about our own life, how we worship, what our family looks like, how many kids we have, who we marry.
Curfew is in effect. Curfew is in effect.
We believe that freedom requires us to recognize that other people have the freedom to make choices that are different than ours. That's okay.
Unless they're Republicans. Because that's actually the belief that MAGA has. These people are so gaslit by this moron.
Kamala Harris.
He's not a moron. That's not the right word. By this evil, corrupt man.
An America where we, the people, includes everyone. Because that's the only way this American experiment works. And despite what our politics might suggest, I think most Americans understand that. Democracy isn't just a bunch of abstract principles and dusty laws in some book somewhere. It's the values we live by.
Yes.
It's the way we treat each other.
Well said, Turner.
Including those who don't look like us, or pray like us, or see the world exactly like we do.
See? Here comes the racism. Here comes the racism. There you go. The other side is racist. Classic Obama. He just did it again. That's what he does. He's telling you the other side is racist.
That sense of mutual respect has to be part of our message.
Liar. You suck. You're a liar.
Our politics have become so polarized these days.
Because of you.
For all of us across the political spectrum.
Because of you, because you kept saying the same crap you just said for 8 years.
Unless they agree with us on every single issue. We start thinking that the only way to win is to scold and shame and out-yell the other side. And after a while, regular folks just tune out, or they don't bother to vote.
This is how I and many other legal commentators
now that approach
interpret
may
Dobbs.
work
Exactly what you
for the
wrote
politicians
here,
who just want attention
that even Congress couldn't
and
change.
thrive on division. But it won't work for us to make progress on the things we care about, the things that really affect people's lives. We need to remember that we've all got our blind spots and contradictions and prejudices, and that if we want to win over those who...
I just want to, first of all, I'll give you a quick thing. I just want to point this out. You want to know the proof that this reading is correct? Because a lot of people don't, it's not really clear what Dobbs means. Because it's basically saying that, you know, the implication is that it's left to the states individually and could not be voted. Let's say Congress decides to pass a law like he's advocating for right now. This is an important question. That's why I'm pausing him. In that case, would that law be legal under Dobbs? Would that be constitutional? Do they have a power to do that? And because the Supreme Court said, okay, we, the court, cannot decide that. But what about Congress? Can Congress, federal Congress, decide that? The implication from Dobbs is only states can do it. And I'll give you a proof that that reading is correct and that the Democrats know that reading is correct. The proof that the Democrats know that it's beyond federal power is that there's been no executive order from Biden legalizing abortion across the country. There's been, and it's a very easy thing, pick up a pen, write an executive order. Why hasn't he done that? The reason he hasn't done that is because if he were to do that, there would be an immediate lawsuit which would be filed, and almost certainly we can expect that the Supreme Court would say, you can't make an executive order about this. So, and what would happen if that would happen, and they would be more definitive in saying only the states can decide it, is this issue would no longer be a federal issue Democrats can raise. So if he tried passing an executive order, it would only highlight that this is something that is uniquely state power. And then schmucks like this gaslighting bozo would not be able to get up there and say, we need a president who's going to legalize abortion and a woman's right to choose, because it would be clear that no, there's such a thing as unattainable and that it wouldn't pass muster. So, yeah, that's why I suspect they haven't tried passing an EO legalizing abortion across the board. That's why, because they know that this is BS. They know this is a lie. They know this could never possibly work. But if they actually throw up the Supreme Court, then it becomes a definitive statement that it cannot work. So rather, and they can't use it for political leverage to get a whole bunch of women driven into a crazy frenzy, I need to protect my right to get an abortion. So they won't be able to gin up that frenzy, and they don't want to lose that political leverage. So even though they know that this is a lie, they figured that their audience is too stupid to know that it's a lie. Or to ask the question, why is there no EO?
Aren't yet ready to support our candidates. We need to listen to their concerns and maybe learn something in the process. After all,
it's weird that they don't have thousands of prime people.
Occasionally says something that makes us cringe. We don't automatically assume they're bad people. We recognize that the world is moving fast, that they need time and maybe a little encouragement to catch up. Our fellow citizens deserve the same grace we hope they'll extend to us.
Yeah, I don't think he ever said that in the 8 years.
That's how we can build a true Democratic majority, one that can get things done. And by the way, that does not just matter to the people in this country. The rest of the world is watching to see if we can actually pull this off.
They're praying that they get a weak leader in Kamala Harris. So yeah, that's true.
No nation, no society has ever tried to build a democracy as big and as diverse
He's a
as
complete
ours
charlatan.
before. One that includes people that over decades.
He is this century's Tartuffe. And if you're unfamiliar with Tartuffe, it's a great play. You should read it. It's a great play. And Tartuffe is a play that goes back, I don't even know how many centuries. I think it was written by Moliere. I think it was Moliere. I guessed this once wrong on my show before, but Tartuffe was basically a priest who was the biggest hypocrite on earth and always talking about God and God's will and stuff like that, while he was a lecherous, crazy, power-hungry, money-hungry person. But the main figure in the house was completely entranced by Tartuffe, even as Tartuffe was taking his house over from him. It's a great story, and it's got a lot of lessons to it. But that's what it is. Basically, it's someone who portrays himself as being filled with virtue, while having nothing but their own self-interest and power in mind. And that's what this speech is, because he figures if I do something like this, if I give this speech, I'll be able to be the puppet master for Kamala the way I was for Biden.
Have come from every corner of the globe. One where our allegiances and our community are defined not by race or blood,
You define
but by a
everything
common
by
creed.
race. You define everything by race.
And that's why when we uphold our values, the world's a little brighter. When we don't, the world's a little dimmer. And dictators and autocrats feel emboldened. And over time, we become less safe.
You made us less safe.
We shouldn't be the world's policemen.
I'm going to remind you that BLM was born
eradicating
under him.
cruelty and injustice
Ferguson
in the
riots
world.
under him.
But America can be and must be.
And he could have
a
stopped
force
in
for
2
good.
seconds if he just went to the black community and said, I got
Discouraging
this, I'll fix it.
conflict,
He didn't want to fix
fighting
it.
disease, promoting human rights,
Promoting racism
protecting the planet from climate change, defending freedom,
and corrupting America.
brokering peace. That's what Kamala Harris believes, and so do most Americans.
Not you.
Now,
This guy's been out of office for 8 years, and they're still chanting his stupid slogan when he did nothing other than the Affordable Obamacare, which was a disaster. They're still chanting, yes, we can. God, losers.
no, these ideas can feel pretty naive right now. We live in a time of such confusion and rancor,
That's precisely right, Brown Dog.
with a culture that puts a premium on things that don't last. Money, fame, status, likes. We chase the approval of strangers on our phones. We build all manner of walls and fences around ourselves, and then we wonder why we feel so alone. We don't trust each other as much because we don't take the time to know each other. And in that space between us, politicians and algorithms teach us to caricature each other and troll each other and fear each other. But here's the good news, Chicago. All across America, in big cities and small towns, away from all the noise, the ties that bind us together are still there. We still coach Little League and look out for our elderly neighbors. We still feed the hungry in churches and mosques and synagogues and temples.
Yeah,
we
sure.
share the same pride when our
We
Olympic
mandate-
athletes
we mandate-
compete for the gold. Because the vast majority of us do not want to live in a country that's bitter and divided.
You made our country bitter and divided, Tartuffe.
We want something better.
God.
We
So
want to
sick
be
of this.
better. And the joy and the excitement that we're seeing around this campaign tells us we're not alone.
Even that statement of we want a country that's not divided is designed to tell you that the other half of the country wants to divide us. Everything about him is so revolting.
You know, I've spent a lot of time thinking about these past few months because, as Michelle mentioned, this summer we lost her mom, Ms. Marion Robinson.
That she went on and on about.
And I don't know that anybody has ever loved their mother-in-law any more than I love mine. Mostly it's because she was funny and wise and the least pretentious person I knew. That, and she always defended me with Michelle when I messed up. I'd hide behind her. But I also think one of the reasons Mary and I became so close was she reminded me of my grandmother, the woman who helped raise me as a child. And on the surface, the two of them did not have a lot in common. One was a black woman from right here, south side of Chicago, right down the way. Went to Englewood High School.
All right, I don't know what he's babbling on about now.
The other was a little old white lady.
I want to come back to this for a second. Democrats cry about misinformation. Obama's the one that revoked the Smith Modernization Act in 2020, actually in 2013, allowing for the dissemination of propaganda upon Americans. Elitists then bought the news to misinform us. Yes, that's precisely correct. That's precisely correct. The Smith-Mundt Act, which was passed in 1948, was designed to stop the government from ever propagandizing Americans. He destroyed that. He eradicated it in 2013, basically saying it's totally okay to propagandize America. He's the one who introduced propaganda as a legal form for the government itself to engage in. That's his legacy, this guy. Unbelievable. Terrible human being.
Born in a tiny town called Peru, Kansas.
That's not true.
I know there aren't that many people from Peru.
Yeah, you would think that they're trying to win back the House.
A basic outlook on life. They were strong, smart, resourceful women, full of common sense, who, regardless of the barriers they encountered, and women growing up in the 40s and 50s and 60s, they encountered barriers. They still went about their business without fuss or complaint and provided an unshakable foundation of love for their children and their grandchildren. In that sense, they both represented an entire generation of working people who, through war and depression, discrimination, and limited opportunity, helped build this country.
I feel terrible that I forgot to turn on the chat.
A lot of them toiled every day at jobs.
I'm sorry about that.
That were often too small for them and didn't pay a lot. They willingly went without just to keep a roof over their families' heads, just to give their children something better. But they knew what was true.
DACA changed that.
Things like honesty and integrity.
He got DACA passed by the Supreme Court. And they basically made the president a king. That's the way it's supposed to be. But that changed.
They weren't impressed with braggarts or bullies. They didn't think putting other people down lifted you up or made you strong. They didn't spend a lot of time obsessing about what they didn't have. Instead, they appreciated what they did. They found pleasure in simple things. A card game with friends, a good meal, and laughter around the kitchen table. Helping others. And most of all, seeing their children do things and go places that they would have never imagined for themselves. Whether you are a Democrat or a Republican or somewhere in between, we have all had people like that in our lives. People like Kamala's parents, who crossed oceans because they believed in the promise of America. People like Tim's parents who taught him about the importance of service. Good, hard-working people who weren't famous or powerful, but who managed in countless ways to leave this country just a little bit better than they found it.
We're much better off than
any
how they found it, right?
policy or program, I believe that's what we yearn for. A return to an America where we work together and look out for each other. A restoration of what Lincoln called, on the eve of civil war, our bonds of affection. An America that taps what he called the better angels of our nature. That is what this election is about. And I believe that's why if we each do our part over the next 77 days, if we knock on doors, if we make phone calls, if we talk to our friends, if we listen to our neighbors,
if RFK Jr. does not endorse Trump,
we work like we've never worked before, if we hold firm to our convictions, we will elect Kamala Harris as the next president of the United States and Tim Walz as the next vice president of the United States. We will elect leaders up and down the ballot who will fight for the hopeful, forward-looking America we all believe in. And together, we too will build a country that is more secure and more just.
More secure.
More equal.
Secure. Yeah.
And more free.
Did you see Rachel Levine?
Let's get to work. God bless you. And God bless the United States of America.
Oh, I hate this man. Oh, I hate him so much. A collection of freaks and idiots. Well, oh, I forgot. I'm going to get hit for this. I'm going to put stupid music. I don't even know what it is, but someone's going to come hitting me. So, wow. I can't stand that man. I apologize. I can't stand him. He's gaslighting all the time. Every terrible thing he says, he's committed worse in the exact same way. But the difference between Trump and Obama is because they both have, you're fooling yourself and not meeting your enemy if you disregard that Trump and Obama have far more charm than 98% of anyone else who runs for office. They know how to resonate with an audience. They know how they're very skilled orators, and they have completely diametrically opposed styles. They both will use humor in various moments, but where Obama is a surgeon with his words, because like I said, he promotes racism without actually using the word racist. He just says others. They're trying to hold down others, which it plants a seed in your brain because you intuitively know what he means by others. There's nothing else it could mean besides black or brown people. No, when he says hold down others, no one thinks he's talking about Asians. No one thinks he's talking about the French. They means some oppressed group. If not black or brown person, then it's holding down trans people or gay people or whatever. But basically, it's a beautiful, using that term others is this type of skilled word that he will use, that he has used over and over and over again to plant a seed in the mind of the listener, which is that those people who want to hold down others are evil. That is, and he does this intentionally, and he does it surgically because he's a surgeon with his words. In contrast, as I said, Trump is diametrically opposed. Trump is a hammer. I mean, instead of pulling out a surgeon's knife, he gets a blowtorch and he's just everywhere. and he's very direct and overt in who he's going after and how he's going after them. And both of them have remarkable levels of charm, where it's like it's very engaging. It's they both have remarkable skill at addressing a large audience. So when you're looking at them, it's an amazing thing to see, because the Democrats probably don't recognize what it is that makes them feel connected when Obama talks. I'll tell you why they feel connected. They feel connected because they feel as if we're all in the oppressed group. We're all standing up for the oppressed. We're all the virtuous ones who are standing up for the oppressed, or we are the oppressed. We're the virtuous oppressed. That's how they're all feeling when he's talking to them, without him ever using the term racist, misogynist, or anything like that. Just implication after implication that the other side is evil, without ever saying those words. And he did it over and over and over again tonight. I can promise you that people who are in his audience don't even realize that their brains are being trained to think that way. They don't. They don't. Even when he talks about how, like, hey, we are all about recognizing other people, that statement is designed to say the other side is about holding down other people. It's to distinguish that we're the good, virtuous ones and they're the evil ones. And he does this over and over and over again. So throughout his speeches, you don't even realize, if you're listening to him and you're a supporter of his, you don't realize you're being trained to hate the other side. That's exactly what he's doing. And he does it so masterfully, and he does it so artfully that, I understand why it is that people don't immediately recognize his divisiveness, because they don't realize how they are internally reacting to his speech. They don't realize how, if you're in the group that he's referring to as, purportedly trying to hold down others, that he is calling you a racist. And that's why we got so sick of it. We got so sick of it because he wouldn't do it. His audience would then say, you're racist, you're Adolf, you're not, all this other stupidity. That's why he was the one who planted that seed. He's literally destroyed this country, because there's no way to go back from this. There's really no way to go back from it. And it got to a point where people on the right were like, yeah, fine. All right. You call me whatever word you want. I don't care. Because I know your words are stupid and they're meaningless. I know it's not true. So why should I care? And it builds a resentment and a hatred and anger toward the other side. It builds a genuine division that it's incalculable how damaging he's been to this country. I think we'll be dealing with this for decades until, God forbid, there's actual violence. And it's all because of him. It's all because of those seeds that he planted. In contrast, when you get Trump up there, Trump is like basically like, you're a fat hoe. Boom. It's like night and day. It's night and day. And you can understand why, if you're on Obama's side of it, you're basically like, oh, yeah, he's an arrogant buffoon. Because compared to the skilled word surgeon that Obama is, it seems kind of childish. You can't recognize. You have to recognize that the difference in style is gonna make Obama appear intelligent, even though he's not. I don't think he's actually a brilliant man. I think he's an intelligent man. I think I don't know if he writes his speeches or someone else writes his speeches for him, but it's his speeches that have generated his popularity. And his speeches are powerful. They're powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. And powerfully dangerous. I missed earlier, and I apologize. I only caught. I want to just call attention to this. That what was it? Here, Bruce Rice hit me up with 10 10 new members of the following. I only caught the last two, which were Homestead Life and RC1 Emmons. I guess maybe Roger Clemens that's supposed to be. Probably Roger Clemens supposed to be. Anyway, thank you. God bless you, Bruce Rice, for bringing in 10 new members of the following. I just want to point out the following. I am not the leader of the following. Okay, I'm just a host. The following is about greater personal growth through community unity and leadership training. It's not at all a cult type of cult. There's no self-harm, no harming others, no spaceships, none of that. There's no Kool-Aid. I'm not forcing you to drink Kool-Aid. No, there's no virgin sacrifices, throwing them into volcanoes. There's no stabbing yourself with the jabby jab. There's no dancing around bonfires while the beat is going, while someone's beating tom-toms there. There's no rain dances. It's not at all a cult type of cult. The reason the show is called The Following Program, and you now are part of The Following. You're here, but no one is trying to convince you to become part of some greater mystical type of force thing where this is the only place that you'll find happiness. This is the only place that you will ever be happy. No one's trying to sell that to you at all. So please don't think for a moment that this is at all a cult. Anyway, but God bless you, Bruce Rice, and those of you who did get brought in by him, please express your gratitude to him because he's awesome. Seeing all the vote signs is telling, no? Maybe they're talking to the illegal aliens. What do you take from that? What do you take from that, most dope? Thank you for making this horrific event nearly tolerable by adding entertaining comment. You're welcome. You're welcome. It's been a while since I've seen Zach Morris. You're welcome, Dow. Just saw something online. Bit of illegal aliens walking across the border. Kamala's first-time home buyers. Yes. That reminds me. There's something I wanted to share with you all. Where was it? I'm gonna see if I can find it. I'm not sure if I can be able to find it. I might not find it. Give me a minute. So someone mentioned earlier up above. Who was it? The Smith-Mundt Act that I definitely want to talk about. So this is an important thing that Obama did to help destroy our country. And the Smith-Mundt Act made it illegal to propagandize. He said, no. We totally want to have it legal to be the government to propagandize you. It's like, why are you passing this unless you specifically are looking to be a provocateur? To basically, not provocateur, but basically turn the government against its own people. Why? Why would you do that? Why would you do that? God, it's a terrible human being. Everything is about himself. Why is he staying in Washington? No other president stays in Washington. The guy's from Chicago. Everything about him. So awful. Denise says EOs are actually supposed to be for those directly under the president. They were never supposed to be used the way presidents have been using them in modern history. I know that. I agree with you. I agree with you, Denise, Sam, but it doesn't mean that they haven't gotten much broader. Much broader. Yeah, and I agree with the comment about Tampon Tim in the ghetto, about Tampon Tim using paintballs. This guy is a monster waiting to be unleashed on America. He really is. The scary thing is this. I'm not going to kid you. I was thinking about this today. Let's imagine we win this election, which I know that we're miles from that. These folks and these policies, we're going to keep hearing them over and over again. Eventually, some schmuck's going to win. Terrifying. It's terrifying. The other thing I wanted to mention to you guys before I close out of here is last night I had an after show on Locals, and I had links that were in the description, and then I tried running it, the show, and I was basically trying to explain some of the frothing hate that I've seen online and trying to address some of that and some of the gaslighting and misconceptions that were being sent out there. I had a problem with the stream. My internet connection just exploded on me, and I wasn't able to use my laptop. And then I tried using my tablet, and when I tried going on my tablet, it wasn't loading. And there's like a 3-minute video that went up, which was basically nothing. And that's what you get if you press on that old link. I ended up redoing it, and I actually had an hour-long, more than an hour, like an hour and a half long conversation, which really the first 15 minutes, it was kind of rough with the connection, I think, but then it settled down. I was rewatching it today, where I really explained, if you've been seeing some of the vile hatred out there, and some of certain videos have been shared out there, I was explaining what was actually happening and how this was such a ridiculous gaslighting. I highly recommend it. And the link is, so I pinned the link in the description again. You'll see it pinned in the chat. That is not for a Locals after show that I'm going to be doing tonight. That's a Locals after show that I did yesterday that I think a lot of people missed out on because of the internet connections I had on the first go around. So if you missed it, I recommend you check it out, because I think you're gonna like it. It's in the description down below also, both in Rumble and in the Ghetto, both and in YouTube. Also, I want to mention, but in general, if you can check out goodlogic.locals.com, I'd appreciate that. And yeah, I think it's time for me to start landing the plane. I think the plane is coming in for a landing. It's coming in for a landing. It's coming down. Trump and Elon are discussing cabinet posts for Elon. Makes sense since the previous owners of Twitter were appointed to work for the current administration. I think that they were talking about him being in charge of Department of Efficiency. I don't even know what that means. But if he could streamline our federal government, oh, that'd be amazing. That would be amazing. Sometimes we need to go through lunch meat replays. Okay. Anyway, so I urge you all to check out that video from last night, goodlogic.locals.com. The link to the actual video is in the description below. I'm going to be landing my plane here. I thank you all for joining me. I'll be back here, God willing, tomorrow evening. Until then, I'm going to say to you, I think I covered everything. It's time for me to get on out of here. So stay away from lab meat, because it's like food poisoning yourself. I'm not a doctor, but that's what some people say. Some people say. I don't know medicine, but don't touch it. And most importantly, no matter how they put ketchup on it, and try and make it look like some sort of brown material to make you don't. Just don't. Don't eat some.